I don't like the traditional software salesperson who's just trying to sell something. I wanted to hire a team of relationship builders, of people who truly care so much that you can feel it. So if you get a good relationship builder, if you get somebody who cares about human beings, you can teach them a product and they can sell it.
Sometimes our interaction with people, it becomes transactional. Have you ever asked yourself why? I think we lost touch with ourselves and with other people. But there is a way to fix that. So I have Kate Barnett Kirschner here in the studio, and you're going to learn about her, what she has done, and how we're going to build that relationship, which is so important. Kate, welcome to the show. I am so happy you are here.
I'm so thankful that you have me here. It's wonderful to get to talk to you today.
Thank you so much. As I told you off the camera, everybody's got a story. And I want to know, what is Kate's story? How did you got involved into your business from Guesty to previous employment? And what is your story? Since you were a kid, you were into building relationship and helping people and getting to know people, because for running what you do, you have to build relationship. You got to love people.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not easy to go out there and make those relationships and do the right thing and get people involved with your work. How you do that?
You know, truly, I think I've always loved people. I've always had a lot of good friends, but honestly, I grew up with very intense social anxiety. And I would go to events with a lot of people at it, and I would get physically ill. I would go to parties in high school, I would get physically ill. And I went to a therapist about it, and they said, listen, we can medicate you. We can put you on medicine to get over your social anxiety, or you can figure it out. And I said, I'm just going to push through it. Rather than medicate, let me just go to as many social gatherings as I can, meet as many people as I can, and just fight through it. And I don't think anybody who knows me would think that I grew up with very intense social anxiety. Going to conferences and meeting people is my favorite thing in the whole wide world.
No, you don't look like that, that you have like that challenge of meeting people. What was the hardest things when you were meeting new people and just say, oh my God, how I'm going to talk to him or her, or what I want to say, or how they're going to think about me? What went through your mind?
Yeah, I think it's just fear of, am I going to provide value to this relationship? Who are they? What do they like? Are we going to connect? And what I ended up realizing is there is a way that you can connect with literally everyone. And I think through working at Verbo, which was my first job in the vacation rental industry, I learned how much I like helping people. And helping people is now how I have built all of my relationships, because I just care about people and I want to help them.
That's the key. And I'm so happy you mentioned that, because most of us, we do not understand the power of giving and helping others, because by doing that, we help ourselves.
Yep.
We all help ourselves. And you grow up and you said, okay, I'm getting over this anxiety, I'm getting over that, and I want to decide to do what?
I actually fell into real estate. So
wow.
I worked at a call center to push through my anxiety. I said, I'm going to talk to 25 people every hour, and that will help me. And I became the manager of the call center, and then I got promoted from there, and then I got promoted from there. And I just kind of fell deeply into real estate, and then ended up doing title insurance, fell into outside sales. And that's
Those are hard field.
Yeah.
You went to the call center in order to overcome your challenges, talking to people and get used to like talking and speaking to people. That's unbelievable, because a lot of us, we actually dismiss that. Mm-hmm. We try to not get ourselves out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
But as you say, the moment we get out of our comfort zone and face our fear, which is in this case, yours was interacting with people, and you chose call center, which is a tough one. It's a tough one. And then that's really amazing. What are the challenges you had when you talk to people on the phone?
The day I started, it was a national call center for Weikert Realtors in the Northeast, huge real estate company, and it was understanding people from all different parts of the country. Right? The United States is so massive that in other continents, it would be several countries. We have totally different cultures from California to New Jersey to Denver, and so it was learning how to connect with very different people than what I grew up with in my tiny town.
Connecting with people, that right now is a challenge. As you work as a high level, executives, lots of companies, they have that problem to build that strategic partnership and relationship. I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that goes back to the individual that has that position.
Yep.
If somebody's like you that went through all of that, find themselves and said, okay, I want to build people, I want to talk to people, I want to be in that relationship, you can do that. Have you ever had a situation that you interact with the people that they said, okay, no, I can't do it. They're not going to get it. How did you handle that? Because in daily basis, we all face connection that is not matched. But that doesn't mean they are bad.
Yeah.
How you handle that?
I think at the basis of everything, especially in this vacation rental industry, there's always something to connect on. So it's about finding whatever that commonality is. How can I help them and how can they help me? And how can we learn from each other? And as long as you find whatever that common connection is, then everything is beautiful.
But you say that's very simple, very easy. Like you have done this so many times. I am serious. Lots of problem because I talk to so many problems. They have that problem. What do you think they should do to overcome that? Like how are they going to build that connection? How are they going to build that relationship? Especially when they go to the new job or they say, okay, the only way I want to grow, I got to talk to these people. If I don't, I'm going to lose my position.
Yeah.
Which is, you have seen that.
I think it's about asking questions, right? What you do, you learn a lot about people because you ask questions and you ask the right questions. And it's not just about asking questions because you have to, it's about really sincerely wanting to understand. So if you are inquisitive and you ask people questions, you'll learn about them and you'll find out where that connection is.
Basically, you start educating yourself about that person.
Yep.
And they're going to educate themselves about you.
Exactly.
You give them that chance. It's not like, hey, I have this. Would you like to buy it? My product, whatever it is you say it is better than the other company. Would you like to buy it? I think that strategy is gone.
Yes, 1,000%. And that is not how my sales team at Guesty sells. We sell by saying, let me understand your business, right? I don't want to jump right into a demo. I want to say, help me understand your business. What did you do really well last year? What are you struggling with right now? What do you wish that you could do better? And if you see in the next 5-10 years, what do you think the industry is going to look like? And what do you think you're going to need to thrive, right? Asking a lot of those questions helps you understand, is this product even a good fit for them?
You have so many salespeople that you work with, and dealing with the salespeople is not easy because it involves a lot of education. How did you bring your mentality and philosophy into Guesty? Guesty is a very, very great company. It's an amazing company. And how did you bring that into and mold it into that sales force? Because you have to have some strategy because a lot of people now they're listening, they can use that. Hey, I'm going to this new environment. They have a lot of salespeople and I know all of this. I can tell them, hey, if you do it like this, it's going to get better.
I think a big part of it is making sure that it's a sales team of people who care, not sellers, right? It's not I don't like the traditional software salesperson who's just trying to sell something to you. I wanted to hire a team of relationship builders, of people who truly care so much that you can feel it. Right? That's a good seller to me. You can teach anybody a product. So if you get a good relationship builder, if you get somebody who cares about human beings, you can teach them a product and they can sell it.
What you just said is golden because that's so important. As you said, building relationships and building that, nurturing the relationship, those are so important, especially right now. You see everything is changing.
Yeah.
Competitive economy right now. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to get ahead. How many SaaS companies out there? How many they're going to offer that? But who is going to win? As you say, as a company that understand what they're selling.
Yep.
Is that right?
Absolutely. And understand who it's helpful for and how it can help people.
Have you ever had the situation that it wasn't a fit for the company? How did you handle that?
Honestly, that's where, again, other relationships come in handy. I help people, they help me. So knowing, hey, we're not a fit, but maybe I can make a warm connection to somebody else that would be a better fit for you. It's a win-win, right? I don't want to sell something to somebody that's not going to help them. And maybe that's not a traditional thought process for a sales leader. But, you know, this is not about the quick sell. This is about, I've been in this industry for over a decade at this point, and I have relationships with everyone I've ever sold to because I want to make sure it's a good fit.
This is actually is a great strategy, because by giving them other solution, it might work for them, and you actually build that relationship that they might one day come back to you or refer you somebody.
And I've absolutely had that so many times.
You had that?
Yep. Again, I think you put good out in the world, you help people, it comes right back.
Why your mentality is like that? I really want to know why you keep giving, why you keep educating. Why is it really? It doesn't matter, Guesty or any company, but you have that character. How did you develop that character? Your family, they were like that.
Yeah,
your mom,
my
dad.
mom is a helper. My mom is just a saint of a human. She was a vice principal at an inner city school in New Jersey and always was taking kids into the house. Weekends were spent going to Costco and picking up rice and beans and dropping them off at families that couldn't afford to eat. Like, my mom is an absolute angel.
Then dad?
My dad is also, he is a brainiac of a person. So I think he's where I got a lot of my work ethic and a lot of my kind of strategic thinking.
What your dad was doing?
My parents are divorced, so I unfortunately didn't get to see my dad a whole ton growing up. But we are best friends now, which is amazing.
Let me tell you, that's like, if you keep that civilized, and that's another podcast we can do about how you keep that going and civilized and have the relationship, because, you know, coming from a divorced family is not easy, but you don't show it.
And I think that helps you deal with different kinds of people and making relationships work when you see that relationships haven't worked. And, you know, growing up, I kind of tried to get everybody in the family to get along, right?
Just make peace. You're a peacemaker.
Exactly.
I'm sure you had situation and difficult situation that you had to make a tough decision. How did you do that by still keeping that relationship going?
I think anytime I had to make a tough decision, I would know that it was the right decision. And so finding a way to find a win-win, there's not always a way to find a win-win, but 95% of the time, if you are innovative and you try hard enough, there's a way to find a win for everyone.
It is possible. I believe that. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it works. When people, they're coming together, I think if they put the differences aside and say, as you had mentioned, that how can I help you? How can I give?
Yep.
But unfortunately, sometimes we give and we have some expectations. But things happen when you give with no expectation. You help a human being and understand somebody else, and it will come back to you.
Yep.
I'm sure you had that.
Absolutely.
Many times, right?
So many times. It comes back. It may not come back in 10 minutes. It may not come back in days, right? It may come back in years, but it comes back.
Going back to the sales, what is the perfect, I asked this from another, VP for the sales. What is the perfect sales culture?
The perfect sales culture is a culture of people who see their prospects as human beings. They want to help them. They understand their product, but they sell it in a way that doesn't say, hey, this does this and this does this. It's, this can help you with your goal of this, and this can help you with your goal of that. And everybody is collaborative, because if it's one thing I've learned in this industry, one person can't possibly know everything. You need to lean on each other. You need to have resources. So a collaborative teamwork environment is the perfect sales culture.
And then why we have a problem asking for help?
We don't want to admit that we don't know everything, but no person knows everything.
I totally agree with you, because most of us, we really not afraid of asking for help. We don't want to ask for help because we said, I know it all, but I don't know everything.
Yeah.
But the power is that when we, collaborate and ask each other. And do you think the vulnerability is a sign of it? They don't want to be vulnerable?
Absolutely.
Are you a vulnerable person?
I'm an overly vulnerable person.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know if Travis would agree. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I love people hard, and I figure there's no use in not being vulnerable. Why have your guard up, right? It doesn't benefit you at the end of the day.
You don't think that vulnerability is a sign of weakness?
No, I think vulnerability is actually a sign of strength.
Wow.
The ability to be open and, let yourself be vulnerable is something that only strong people are able to do.
And you're not afraid of judgment?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Not anymore. And why you were afraid of judgment?
I think I don't know. I just didn't understand that everybody else is walking around in the world also being afraid of judgment, right? I think when I talk to new sales reps about going to conferences, for example, I say, don't be afraid to go up and talk to somebody because they're probably also afraid to go up and talk to somebody, right? So you don't need to be afraid of judgment because everybody else is also in their own heads in the same way that you are. And we all connect on that. Be unapologetically you.
And be you. I love that. You just said it. Be you. This is my philosophy. You can agree or disagree with it. But the moment that you pretend to be somebody else, everything changes. It's not you anymore.
Yeah. And if you like me because I'm putting on a facade, then you don't actually like me. You like my facade.
But when you are yourself, you're true yourself, and then that would attract more people.
Yep.
Because you're not pretending, because at any moment or giving time, people will understand who you are.
Yep.
And you can fake it, Some people, they say fake it to make it or all that stuff. I don't believe that. Do you believe that?
No. I believe be confident in who you are and what you have to provide. And if sometimes you have to fake a little bit of that confidence to kind of get it going, then that is where I think fake it till you make it works. But because I don't think confidence comes naturally.
No. How you build your confidence?
Just through knowledge, I think.
Study?
Yep.
And go through it?
Yep.
Just like a cold pool.
Exactly.
And just jump in it.
Exactly.
Some people don't do that. I'm always wonder why, it's so cold. I'm not going to jump, but if you jump, after a while, your body is going to get used to it.
And if you don't jump, then what are you doing? You're standing at the edge of the pool. For what?
Another question I have for you, because you work in the SaaS, what is your feedback? Because this affects the sales. With the rise of AI, how you guys do adapt, how you educate yourself or your team or at Guesty, how they adapt that artificial intelligence that is rising every day. Every morning you get up, something new is happening. Is it a threat?
I don't see it as a threat, but I see it as something we all need to be very conscious of. And some people are very much behind the curve and avoiding. But if I think about AI, Guesty has built some AI into its software at this point. What we need to think about in this relationship-driven industry is, what do we feel comfortable letting AI take over without impacting relationships, right? So there are softwares that have AI doing all guest communication. I don't know if I want all guest communication going through AI, right? That's a human connection. That's relationship. But I also think that every property manager runs their business very differently, and some are all about efficiency, right? Get through guests in and out, one night stays, and maybe AI is helpful there. So it's all very customizable based on the business. Everyone runs their business so differently in this industry because there's no college that people go to become a vacation rental property manager.
Wow.
They all fall into it, so they all just make it up.
I think the AI is a great tool.
Yeah.
It can be a great tool if you use it right.
Yeah.
And as you said, the integration of the AI to any SaaS company is a great thing. They're all doing it, but at what point you say that I want to pick up that phone and it's going to be Kate that I'm talking to my strategic partner rather than an AI agent.
Yep.
You cannot replace that.
There was a really interesting presentation from the former president of HomeAway years ago. And he said, we used to teach our kids to grow up and try to become doctors and lawyers. And with the rise of AI, AI can read through legal documents in 5 seconds that would take a lawyer years, right? So with that in mind, what do we teach our children to become? And he had leaned into, this was 10 years ago, he said...
10 years ago?
Yeah, he said creativity. AI cannot be creative. Fun fact, AI is very creative now, right? AI is doing art, AI is making music. But what AI can't do is build relationships.
I totally agree with you, because I had a discussion with another fellow entrepreneur and we were talking about that. I said, I don't think so AI can build that relationship. It can start it,
Yeah.
but it cannot be Kate.
Yep.
Because there's only one Kate with one DNA exists.
Exactly.
The AI, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in the next 100 years that happens, that we have somebody sitting here and says, oh, it's just an AI version of Kate. I don't know, AI version of Rami. I don't know. I think that relationship building, you're absolutely right. AI cannot replace that. But we can use to nurture it.
Yes.
Like sending a follow-up email or doing some certain things that you know. And Guesty is, or any SaaS company, every day that all the SaaS companies, they're trying to, how I'm going to get into the AI, not by destroying some other stuff.
I think also there's a lot of people using AI as just a buzzword, right? Because everybody loves to talk about AI. And so a lot of companies out there say, oh, we have, a full software built off AI. A lot of it is just automation. We've had automation around forever, right? Automation is just a way to make your life more efficient, but it's not machine learning. It's not true AI. And so I do think part of what I try to educate property managers on is the difference between true AI and just basic automation. And they should be using both.
Because your property manager, okay, I guess you guys use SaaS software and you provide that software to make their life easier and more efficient and, efficiency, operation efficiency. But you guys actually touch the part of the relationship building too.
Yep.
Because you can give them all the tools all day long, but if they're not executing, they're not building that relationship, it's not going to work.
Exactly.
You had that situation?
Yeah. And I think, most of reservations right now come through an OTA, right? They come through Airbnb or they come through Vrbo. And if you are not leaning in with the human element, if you're not really connecting in a human way, you're not getting that reservation next time. You want that to come directly to you next time. So what I see the benefit of AI right now, is leveraging it to become more efficient in all the other ways so that you can lean into the human connection piece. You have more time because all your operations is more efficient.
Basically, you cut all the fats.
Exactly.
And then you give them more time for being more efficient.
Yep.
Where do you think this AI is going? Do you think it's going to really take over?
I don't think it can take over because, again, it
it's
can't.
It's a big thing right now.
Everyone's terrified of it. Fear is limiting people from leveraging it, right? They're afraid of it, and so they're not using it. And Blockbuster was afraid of it, and
remember that?
They're gone. There's still one in Oregon.
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah, there's one in Bend, but
they still they're operational. Like you can go actually rent.
Yeah.
No way.
But it's one single Blockbuster.
That's amazing.
Right?
I didn't know that.
You ever want to come out to Bend, Oregon?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But Blockbuster, that time, you remember that what they did, is Netflix offered them and they said, no, who's going to go watch streaming online? And they did.
Exactly.
And I think the AI will wipe some companies, like in digital marketing. AI is very involved. But as we do it here at Black Ops Agency as well, that human connection that you said, we are exactly operating like you. And I love what you said. We educate.
Yeah.
We do our discovery and we think, what is good for you? Is this that I'm giving to you is good for you or not?
Yeah.
I think that's what all the salespeople or any organization, they should understand. At the end of the day, it's what you said. People.
Yep.
Because people can make you or break you. And if your salespeople, they're not performing, how you handle that? Because I have a story I tell you.
I think if my salespeople aren't performing, a lot of it is digging into the why, right? Are they distracted? Are they struggling with something and they're afraid to be vulnerable and share what that is, right? And so it's really trying to build a real human relationship with the sales team, right? I wasn't just a manager. We are friends. I want to help you. I'm here to support you. I'm not your boss. We're a team. And if you can't be vulnerable and tell me what you're struggling with, I can't help you succeed. And so it's really about digging into the why, because my sales team is amazing.
My God, because the reason I asked you that question, I have talked to so many people, there are two different ways you can go. And one, the way you said, which is unfortunately, some companies, they don't do that. Mm-hmm. They go to the cubic and say, hey, Mark, your numbers is down and I'm going to have to let you go. Second version, your version. Say, hey, Mike, how you doing? How's family? How's everything with you? Is your wife okay? Kids okay? Do you have any distraction? I look at your numbers and it's down. Anything happened that I don't know, or anything that you would like to share that I might be able to help you to get you back on track?
Yeah.
You see, there are two different styles. And my question is, why more companies, they don't think like you?
It feels faster to just let somebody go and hire somebody. But if you know that you hired a great team, then it's actually a longer process to let that person go and find equivalently great talent and train them up. Right? It's a short-sighted win to let somebody go and hire somebody new.
Basically, you invest in the people and you train them. And because what you just said about finding that why. Because as Simon Sinek says, we all know what to do. We all know how we do it. But the why is going to get us.
Yep.
And that's, I think, is important that for you, for me, for anybody that know why we do it. And I'm sure you salespeople, one of the things is why you want to sell for Guesty.
Yeah.
You ask them that question?
Yep.
What they say?
It's sometimes, hey, I am a father and I'm supporting my children, or I truly just live and breathe this industry and I want to make as many relationships as possible, or I have a sick mother who's in the hospital and it's on me to help support her. But it's always about understanding. I like to understand, why does somebody want to succeed and how are they motivated? Because not everybody is motivated exclusively by money, right? Sometimes people are motivated by other things. So it's about really getting to what motivates them.
I totally agree with you. Because money, I always say money brings comfort, but doesn't bring happiness. Mm-hmm. And you have seen it in the first hand, I'm sure, part of your life. I have seen it too. But, people, again, can make you or break you. You have to work him, you have to teach him, you have to train him, and then money will follow.
Yeah.
If you chase money, you're not gonna win. You chase love, at the same thing. If somebody loves you, they're gonna be there for you. You don't need to chase it. And you don't chase friends. If somebody wants to be your friend, they're gonna be there for you.
Yep.
No matter what. You call them 1 a.m., they're gonna pick up the phone. You call them like at 10 a.m., they're gonna pick up the phone. This is a law of attraction, but building sales organization, it's not as easy it used to be.
Yeah.
With all the technology and incorporating this human connection to that framework, it's not easy. But you're doing a great job.
I have, I think, the best sales team in the entire vacation rental industry, and I can confidently say that.
I'm recording it right now, and I want to send it to Guesty. I say, yeah, Kate was here, but I am so happy that you speak about them proudly. Like, that's so important for the people that are going to work with you, because at the end of the day, you're leading them for the better life. Because I don't think most of the people understand that we are responsible for the people that are working for us. We are responsible for their lives, their family, their kids, their wife, husbands, and we cannot just, as you said, hey, your number is down, I'm going to let you go.
Yep.
That doesn't work. You can hire somebody, of course, but you're going to go to that cycle. Your philosophy, your mentality, not everybody has. I don't know, what part of the world did you come from?
New Jersey, not the part of the world you would think.
But New Jersey is a different, New Jersey and New York, I never had a business there. I never worked with the people. Is that right that they are short into conversation? They just want to say, what's your name? What do you do?
Yep.
Why?
Absolutely.
Austin is different.
They have no time. They're like, give me the information quickly. Who are you? What do you do for work? Done.
Why is that? You like that?
I like how they cut out all the fluff, right? There's no fakeness to them. They're all very real. And so if somebody in New York, New Jersey, if they love you, if they're your friend, you know it's sincere. There is no fakeness.
And they tell you exactly like what it is.
Exactly.
And you worked there, and then you were in Austin for 9 years. Man, your adaptation of new things is amazing, because eventually that's gonna affect the way you operate.
Absolutely.
That mentality.
And I think, so moving to Portland, Oregon has been wonderful for me.
Why?
Coming from the East Coast. West Coast, very relaxed. Everybody's very kind to each other. Everybody's very relaxed. So it's kind of balanced me out. If the speed limit says 25, you drive 15, because why are you in a rush? Everyone should be safe. There might be kids riding their bikes. In New York, New Jersey, if the speed limit's 25 and you're going 40, you're going too slow.
Oh my God. You are a very happy person. You always been like that?
I've always been a pretty happy person. There's no reason to not try to find joy in the world. I have a weird mantra that I think about often, and it comes from a song in the 90s that was kind of dumb, but the mantra is, you can stress, but know that stressing is the same as chewing bubblegum to solve an algebra equation. And so anytime I want to be upset about something or anxious or stressed out, I think, what is this stress and anxiety and bad attitude accomplishing? Nothing. It's actually counterproductive.
I love that. I'm going to adapt that because, I have faced it. I went through it not long ago. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely, these are choices. Mm-hmm. We make our choices. You choose to be happy. I think we are. I always say that the key to our happiness is in our own pocket.
1000%.
It's not very complicated. And I don't know why we make everything so complex as a human.
We have only so many days on this earth, unless AI can extend it at some point, right? We have only so many days on this earth, so why spend them not finding the joy in why we're here?
That's how you have a capability, believe it or not, to connect with people so well, because it comes from you and you have that mindset. Because building that mindset, it takes time.
Yeah.
It's not easy. At the same time, I think you raised your standards as well.
And I've also hired an entire sales team that has that same mindset. And that's why I think they're so incredible.
Because I believe, again, when you raise your standards, everything happens.
Yep.
You experienced that? I did.
Tell me what happened.
Everybody told me that, you can't be a talk show host. Like most of the people, okay, English is your fifth language, you have an accent, who's going to listen to you? The same thing with the business. I went through a lot, and then when I came to the United States, I was a dishwasher. I washed dishes. I couldn't even speak one word of English. I learned from people. I got my degree at age 40 in technology, ran the restaurant, I went through so much in life. But overall, I'm like you. I'm a very happy person, and I'm a very giving person. I give with no expectation. If my friends that are hurting, I get hurt.
Yep.
When my true friends are hurting, I cannot sleep. I get hurt because I love them, and because relationship is what keeps us together, and we grow together. You can't have that with everybody. When sometimes you find people, you got to keep him. And that's how you grow.
Yeah.
That's how you grow personally and professionally. But when all people that told me that, I say, hey, dude, listen, raise your standard, goddammit. You can do it. There's no difference between you and other speaker. You can go in there and just do. It takes time, but you can't give up. You just got to keep going. And, it wasn't a motivational. It was more inspirational to myself, and said, hey, you can do it. Just raise your standard. Don't put yourself down. And the moment I raised my standard, and the door opened. And going back to what you said, I was always myself. I was always be myself. I didn't pretend. Once this is a good story I tell you because we love the stories. I got my first speaking gig at the University of Texas. There were 400 project managers. I was nervous, Kate. I said, holy moly, this is... And I had a friend, American friend. He told me, dude, you got to go get an accent coach. I said, what? He said, they might not understand you. And I said, oh, shoot. And, I was worriable. I said, oh, you sure? And he said, call this lady in LA and she will help you out. And I called the lady and she asked me why you need an accent coach. Yeah. I said, I have a speaking gig is coming. I just want to make sure I pronounce everything. I'm good. I get the American accent. Hey, yo, what's going on, man? Do all that stuff. And she said, you don't need me. I said, why? She said, I coach people to be somebody else, to mold in the different character, to play that role. You have to be yourself on the stage. This is a theater stage. Yeah. It's not a film, it's not acting. You got to be you. And I'm not going to coach you.
I love that she said that.
I swear to God, and I was saying, I'm willing to pay. She said, it doesn't matter you pay me or not. I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to do a good thing. Just go be yourself. Of course, just read your stuff. I said, okay. I went there. I did what I could, and it was great. I had a standing ovation. It was good, 400 people. At first, I said, yeah, dude, you did it. You bald guy. And then 2 weeks later, a lady reached out to me, and she said, hey, we're in the Seton Hospital, and I want you to come and talk for our staff. I said, sure. How did you find me? And she said, one of my friends was in your speaking, and she said, you got to call the guy. He has a very funny accent, but he's cool. You got to hire that guy. It worked. Yeah. But I'm just saying the story because we get to the point that when we believe ourselves, things is going to happen. You believe Kate is going to change the culture for Guesty. We're going to go crush it, guys. We're going to go crush it. AI is coming. We're going to adapt. We're going to learn. We're going to build our relationship. The last interaction or the first interaction with the client is going to be the phone. You pick up the phone, you introduce yourself, you close the deal, you pick up the phone, you say, thank you. We're going to be here anytime you need us. That's Guesty. Yeah. That's what I'm believing. Based on our conversation, this is your style. Yeah. And that's going to last for a long time. And I'm so happy that you are in that organization, that you raised the bar and you hold their hands and you said, we're all going to go together. We're all going to make it together. I am the VP of the strategic partnership, head of the market. I am the executive, but I am with you guys. Yep. And why other companies don't think like that?
I think ego sometimes gets in the way of certain people's success, right? You get to be so successful, you get detached from the people who are actually doing the bulk of the work. You get so caught up in the high level strategy and you're not on the ground anymore talking to the end users.
Because you are in the both side. You talk to the end users, get the feedback. Hey, this is Kate. I just want to make sure you're okay. And that takes time, patience. And then you talk to your salespeople as well. And the salesperson say, oh, Kate is over there checking on my clients. Oh, I'm going to perform good. I'm going to make her proud, and she's watching my back. That's a win-win situation. Yep. Is that right?
Absolutely. And now at this point, a lot of the customers are dear, dear friends of mine. One of them, whenever I have a baby one day, said, I'm going to be the grandpa. I'm your extra grandpa for your kid, right? Like those are the relationships that I end up developing with the end users. It's not just, hey, I'm checking in. Is your software good? It's, hey, I'm checking in. Is your software going okay? How's your kid? I know that they just broke their leg the other day, right? It's about really connecting with them.
Why did you pick Guesty?
Because I strongly believe that it is the best software out there. And if my job is to help people, then I need the best software to back me.
Basically, Guesty gives you the right tool, right strategy, and right support to go to the battle.
Exactly. And to feel confident that if I'm going to sell this to a friend of mine, right, a friend who says, I'm going to be the grandpa to your future child, your future unborn child, I need to feel confident that this software is going to truly help them and is better than any other option that they have.
Do you have any advice for the salespeople? They're going to start selling SaaS or working with any company. Do you have any advice as a mentor, as a leader who leads sales team?
Ask questions and be legitimately inquisitive, care about the people that you're selling to, and they will feel it.
And then just keep going.
And just keep going. hustle, and find the joy in helping people. Every time you sell a deal, you should be really excited, but also every time you check in and you find out that somebody you sold to is now incredibly successful as a result, that should also give you that same joy and keep you going.
That happiness, the personal, professional happiness, and you create that in the environment. That's amazing. What is in the future for you, Kate?
It's a great question. Honestly,
Really, be honest. I can cut this out, No.
One thing I'm trying to think about is what gaps still exist in this industry that need to be solved. And I don't know what those are. And I'm just trying to talk to as many property managers as I can to understand, what are you still struggling with? Or where do we think in 10 years the industry needs to go? And how can I get creative in finding that solution?
Really, I told you, Kate, I'm not joking. I have interviewed so many people, and your mentality and philosophy, how to raise the bar, train, lead, build culture is amazing.
I'm very lucky.
They're
I'm
lucky to have you too.
People.
Yeah, it's a win-win situation for both parties. They are there, great company, and you are there. You helped in. It's a win-win situation. And I know you will shine. You go out there. Don't forget the little people. Thank you so much for being here. I know you're busy. You got to go. But I really appreciate you stop by today and have a chat. I know, you're just in Austin, short time and hustling and going to one place to another place. But you made time for us. And I'm grateful for it.
And I'm grateful for this too. I now know that I have a friend here in
Absolutely.
Austin.
Anything you need, I'm here. I'm saying publicly, just name it. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.